Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Or are you, ladies and gentlemen? I'm unsure what reality is anymore. But that's besides the point. Now we're talking about Antonin Artaud. So you better watch, you better understand what I'm saying. If not, you do not visualize what's true. Let's go into this. To understand the surreal, one must look into the real of the person who wrote the surreal and then understand what it means. Therefore, a book I will use to go into the idea, the concept, the formulation, subjective of the surreal to understand. Therefore, text I will look into, starting with this one. 50 Drawings to Assassinate Magic, 31st of January 1948. It's not a question here of drawings in the proper sense of the term, of somehow incorporating reality by drawing. They're not an attempt to renew the art in which I never believed of drawing. No, but to understand them you have to first situate them. These are 50 drawings, culled from various books of notes, literary, poetic, psychological, magical. Especially magical first and foremost. They are thus interwoven into pages, laid down on pages where the written takes up the foreground of vision, writing, and various notes, effervescent on fire, the blasphemy, the curse. From curse to curse these pages progresses, and like new sensitive bodies, these drawings are there to provide commentary, ventilation, and elucidation. These are not drawings, they are figure nothing, disfigure nothing, not there to construct, edify, establish a word, but to be abstract. These are notes, words, shanks, and being on fire, corrosive, incisive, sprouted forth from who knows what vortex of submaxillary, subspacular, vitriol. They are there as if mailed in place, fated not to make other moves, mere shanks, but ready to carry out their apocalypse. For they have been spoken, too much of it to be born, and spoken too much in birth not to be reborn. And takes on body, at last, authentically. But all this would be nothing if one just had to let it go at that, not go beyond the page written and illustrated by the light and the flickering of these drawings, which means nothing and represents absolutely nothing. To understand these drawings as a whole, one has to leave the written page to enter into the real, but, 2, leaving the real to enter the surreal, the extrareal, the supernatural, the supersensible, in which these drawings keeps on plunging, and seeing as they are in fact but commentary of an action that really took place, and are but the circumscribed fictation on paper of an elan that took place and produced magically its effects, and seeing that these drawings are not the representation or the figuration of an object or state of mind or fear of the psychological element or event. They are purely and simply the reproduction on paper of a magical gesture, which I executed in true space with the breath of my lungs and my hands with my hand and 2 feet with my trunk and my arteries, etc. When I write, in general, I just want to dash down a note, but this is not enough for me. I try to prolong the action of what I have written into the atmosphere. So, I get up, I cast for consonance, for adequation of sound, for swaying of the body and limbs, as might constitute an act calling out the ambient spaces to rise up and speak. Then I return to the written page and... But I forgot to say that these consonants have in sense. I breathe, I sing, I modulate, but not a random no. I always have some prodigious thing or world to create or call forth. And I know the plastic objective value of breath. Breath is something in the air. It's not just air stirred up. It's a massive concentration in the air which must be in the body and by the body like an atomic agglomeration in shorts of elements and members of which a moment makes up a table, and matter for beyond that is barely sugar, is born at that very moment instantaneously in the body. Electrical matters which might explain if it were itself exclusive of the nature of certain atomic gases. I say atoms, I would say bare wall, volcanic rock face, a volcanic artery in fusion, wall of lava marching a reversal of the immediate becoming. My drawings hence reproduce these forms, thus evident, these worlds of marvels, these objectives, where the way is made in which one can call alchemy. The great works henceforth was pulverized, for we are no longer in chemistry, but in nature, and I firmly believe that nature shall speak. And that is the end of that text. If you did not understand that, then you have not followed the 2 rules. One being, leave the written page to enter the real. and 2 being leave the real to enter the surreal. You must do this to understand the text. Otherwise, you are nothing, and are not to be reborn. Last text in which I will read is figure sur la page inert, February 1947. The figures on the inert paper said nothing beneath my hand. They offered themselves to me like milestones that would not be inspired drawings, and that I could plump, carve, scrape, file, seam together, and sunder, hack, slash, to ribbons and score without the surface over, thereby crying uncle. Which is to say, knowing no more about the drawings than about nature. I had made up my mind to coax out the forms, lines, outlines, shadows, colors, features that, as in modern painting, would represent nothing, and would moreover not be claimed to be integrated into accordance with whatsoever visual or material law, that would create, as it were, above the paper a kind of counterfigure that would be an ongoing protest against the laws of the created object. The goal of these drawings and colored figures was to exercise the curse to which apart bodily against the exigence of spatial form, of perspective, of measures, of equilibrium of dimension, and via the which apart act of protest to condemn the physical world, which like a crab louse digs in its way of the physical, and like an incubus or succubus claims to have given it shape. And the figures that I therefore made were spells which, after some meticulously have drawn them, I put the match to. It's done, my child, it's done. It's done. Are you with me? Are you here? I am here. I am in form. I am here. I am everywhere. Like God. Alright, let's not actually end that with an ASMR thing. That was weird. But yeah, I hope you understood that. Like, at least the first text I wrote actually explained surrealism as well as he can explain it. I think you might have to re-listen to it 2 or 3 times or read the text. It's the text, I just want to inform you why it's sometimes very jackety. Like, it's a sentence can have one word and then it jumps. And the word starts in a random direction, then jumps, and it's like, ooh, all over the place. Which is fine, but it's just hard to read continuously, you know. So I did my best. So thank you for listening. I hope you understand. Yeah. But just understand one thing, kind of the point of this. Like, understand time and form takes the place in the now. But and usually, when you put something into form, it's a permanent thing, but he's trying to make you an understanding of that it can be above that, of sorts. I think this form explains a few things, which we can go into later time, but for now, ASMR. Hello, goodbye, see ya.